This is my Quilt-As-You-Go hexagon project I have at the moment. It's not quite big enough to go on the bed, but it's probably tablecloth size. It's all done individually, and then we join them all together and it grows and grows and grows. It's very similar to English paper piecing, but it doesn't have that that cardboard or that template that you then fold them over and stitch and then join them and then take out the paper. This is all as you go, and it's so easy. So as you can see, it looks gorgeous. Just imagine the color combos you can have with this. And I'll show you the back. So you can do a plain back, you can do any colors, but I decided to do them as big flowers. So it doesn't matter what size it way it's on the bed, it's going to look awesome. So I've used 3 colors for the back, the white for the center, the light gray for the flower, and the darker gray to join them all in. Or you can do one color, you can do the different colors on the back as well as the front, or you can put these colors on the front and have the chaos at the back. It's whatever you want to do. So I'll just show you the process of it. Here's there's a couple here that I've started already. So you've got my front fabric, and then inside is a piece of batting, like a piece of batting, and then you've got the back fabric. So here you've got your front, then you've got your batting, and then the back. And what you do is you fold the backing over onto the front, and then that's how you finish your hexagon, and then that's how it's quilted as you go. So you can see that you can very easily do this hand stitch it, or you can do it on the sewing machine. So here I was trying things out. I've actually zigzagged it all the way around, and this one I have just done a straight stitch. And then so once you've got your pile of your hexagons, hand stitched, sewing machine stitched, you can even do more stitching in here if you wanted it more quilted. You could do some embroidery, but I kind of like it as it is. I kind of like that look of the looseness that you can get. It just looks more fluid. So once you've got these, you then stitch these together on the sewing machine in whatever order you want. So for these ones, I've got, let's see, I've got a middle and I've got an edge. So I can't stitch these ones together, it'll ruin my pattern because I need to do the lighter grey and have them in between. But if you didn't care about what the back looked like, you could just randomly put them together like this. For this, I care what the back looks like. I have a pattern. The front, I don't. So it doesn't matter what these pieces are at the front. I can put whatever I want. But for the back, I'm just doing the white center, the light grey outside, and then the dark grey. And then those is what I'm sewing together. So I'll show you what I've got so far. I have got some of these done. So as you can see here, I've got a white here, and I've done the light grey around the outside, and then I'll be joining this one to this one with the dark grey around. My brain, I think because I'm a crochet and I often crochet blankets, it's how my brain works. I make the motifs and then I use a different colour to join them together to make the blanket. So maybe that's my crochet brain. So this as it is, it'll be perfect for a placemat, a table, on the table. For, it would fit a dinner plate. This is like a coaster size for your drink. So if you wanted to do a whole bunch of these and make the world's best placemats for your table, that would look so cool. Imagine it in Christmas colours or happy birthday colours. And you put them out and put your birthday cake on top of that. It looks so cool. So this is what I'm doing at the moment. But whilst I was laying in bed last night, I had this idea that what if I used scrap fabric for the middle? And then just old fabric. I've got some of this left over from a quilt backing, and I might use this to go at the back. So you have your hexagon shape, and then you have it folded like that. That would look pretty cool, I think. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to try that out because I have lots of these already cut. But let me just show you the process on how I do this. So I have everything all set up in a box, like so. I have these great big boxes and I'm trying to keep everything organized. So in here I keep in my finished flowers, and I've got a stack of I've got a stack of the pre-cut hexagon shapes that I've done, and I've got all my fabric for the top, and this is the fabrics for the back. So I've actually run out of the light grey, so I need to cut some more. But I would just, every time I want to do something different, I'll just grab my box and do some hexies. So if you wanted to do your hexagon with a hexagon, but you didn't like how loose this was here, what you can do is when you're doing the batting, you can actually get like a like adhesive, and you could actually iron your front piece to the adhesive, and then that way it's not going to move. But I like I said, I like the fluidness of this. But the secret of these are nested hexagon shapes. So you've got your big one, which is your back piece here. Let's just grab some of these so you can see. I'll just fold this over. So you've got your, oops, where's the back piece? You've got your back piece that you've cut out using your large hexagon shape, and then you cut a whole bunch. So you cut them all out like that, make a big pile, and then you get your smaller hexagon shape and you cut out them all in this smaller shape for the batting, whatever batting you want. I've used scraps. And then you get your top fabric, which is, I have all these set colors, and I've just gone through and I've stacked all the fabrics up, and I've just cut these with those. So this time, for this tutorial, I'm actually going to try something different, because you know, you've already got one project started. Let's start another project. I might make a tablecloth maybe and use these scrap fabrics to see what it would look like. And with this blue that I've got left from something else. So I was thinking, I was laying in bed last night going, maybe I could put scrap fabrics on the back as well. So on the back part of the quilt. But I'm like, when you're doing your scrap fabrics, often it often gets quite thick, the seams. So if you've got, say you've sewn this and you've got this thick seam here, and then you're sewing it onto this thick seam right there, it might just get too much, the bulk might be too much, and then you might end up with quite a lumpy quilt. But I think just for the top piece of fabric, it should work out fine. So what I'll do is I'll clear my table, and then we'll start making one of those little hexies. Okay, so first I'm going to cut the backing of the quilt, so which I'm going to do in this scrap blue that I've got left over from a quilt that I made a couple of years ago. What makes things easier if you have a rotating cutting mat, but if it doesn't, you don't have one, don't stress about it. Just turn your cutting mat, and you will need a rotary cutter. It does make things easier. So what I do is I just fold the fabric in place. So I'm going to cut out 7 of these, so I'm comfortable cutting out 3 at a time. So what I'll just do is I'll just quickly just trim this, and I'll pop it on. So I'm using the biggest hexagon shape, not this insert one, because this is the back and this is what's going to fold over the hexagon. So I'm just going to quickly cut this, and then I will cut the scrap fabric. Now I'm doing this only in the one color because this is what I'm just going to do. I would love to see one now with all the back different colors. I think that would look awesome, but I'm not that quite organized at the moment, so they all will be blue, and I'm going to use this as centerpiece for my kitchen table. So we'll do this. So I'll cut 7 of these, but I'll cut them out off screen. You don't need to see me do all 7. So I've got 3 so far. So now I'm going to cut the quilt pieces. Oh, I've actually already cut out the batting. I've already got these. I don't need to cut any more out, as you can see. It's just the same process. You're just using the smaller piece. So you use the back piece for the back, and you use the smaller piece here, as you can see, for the batting, and I will also use the smaller piece for the quilt, the scrap fabric as well. So I'm just going to grab a piece. So I haven't done this before, so bear with me. So I'm just going to find where I like it. This is obviously going to take longer doing it this way because I want to, place the fabric so I like it really. I could do that, but then I had this big white strip through. Or do I want mainly red, or do I want to go really scrappy? How do I want that to go? I think I can get 2 pieces out of this one. So, okay, so I've done a tutorial on how I do my scrap fabrics blocks. I'll link to it. I like doing these when I'm in between projects. One, it gets rid of your scrap piles, and 2, it's nice to have fun, just relaxing, sewing with no patterns and stuff like that. So I'll put a link to that because I have all these random scrap blocks everywhere. I need to do something with. So there's my first, and I think that looks pretty cool. So out of that same piece of scrap fabric, I will get another piece. So where will I go here? Shall I get blue with some red? I don't want to put too much of this white one in, so I might come down here and just have a white corner, I suppose. Bit of blue. I might as well use that corner. No, I'll come over here. Okay, so all scraps. And then once I've finished these are going to go back into my my scrap pile. They're scraps, easy. So see how it's easy having the rotating mat? I don't have to keep picking it up all the time. It's really rather easy. Look at that. And what I'll do is off screen, I will cut off all the rest of them, and I will come back and show you how it goes afterwards. But you don't just see me cutting out all 7. It's a bit boring. Okay, so I've got 2 cut out now. So how the process goes, let me just get that thread, it's going to annoy me, is you grab your piece of back, you pop it down, you grab your frame, and you pop that right on top. And you're going to use that to line up your back your wadding, your batting, your wadding, whatever you want to call this. Lay down, and then you grab your hexagon and you put that on top. So you can buy nesting shapes in squares, triangles, rectangles, all sorts of shapes. So it's the same process. So you pop that on, and then you just lift it up. So you can pin it, but I just lift it. And then you grab your pins over here, and then you start to pin it. Or actually, I might just put it on there just in case it moves while I'm doing this. So what you do is you're going to fold, and you're going to fold again, and this hides those raw edges, and it finishes it off really nicely. And that's how you end up with your little coaster if you're going to do coasters. So there, when you get to a corner, it's quite simple. You just fold, and you fold again, and then look at that little corner there. All done. So you can use pins, you can use clips, it doesn't matter. I'm actually not sure where my clips are at the moment. My daughter has borrowed them, so we'll just use pins for the time being. So you just keep going all the way around, and you can see how it is so easy to create a shape. And while I'm sitting here doing this, I'm looking at that middle going, man, wouldn't it if you had some embroidery? Wouldn't that look really cool in the middle? Especially if it was a gift. You could write little messages, or if you like writing, Bible scriptures and stuff like that, you could do like little quotes from the Bible. Or, imagine your favourite book. Like my son loves Harry Potter. Imagine if I did him a little pillow and I put little Harry Potter quotes in here. Maybe got some Harry Potter fabric for the other hexagons. That would look awesome. Actually, that's a good idea. Actually, you know what also would look really good? Vintage floral sheeting fabrics. You know what? That would look awesome. I might actually use that idea and make myself something. So when you come to this last one, I just find it easier to undo this and then fold it again, hold him in place, and then you come back and then you just refold this. It's really easy. and then you've got that ready to sew. And then what you do with your sewing machine is you just sew along the edge. So I've got another one cut here, so I might as well just take the time and show you again. And I might fast forward this one for you so you don't have to watch it all. And then once you've got them done, you can either hand stitch them if you want, or you can put them on the sewing machine. So I'm going to change the thread on my sewing machine, and I will sew these ones on. And I will also make a big pile of the rest of them, and I'll end up with the 7. Now before we even start sewing, the trick with these is to match the thread that you're going to do on this. So this is the back. This is the back that we've folded over to the front. And this, by having a matching thread on this part, you're hardly going to see the stitches. So that's the trick. Unless of course you're really bold with your sewing and you want to go bold and you want to see the stitches. But me, I've got a variegated blue, and hopefully that will be fine enough with the colour that you won't see the stitches on this part. And please ignore I just realised how dusty my sewing machine is, but who ever dusts there? So yeah, so I'm going to use this for this bit here. All right, so let's start sewing. Okay, so it's pretty easy. All you need to do, you pin cushion close because you're going to be putting all these pins away. I'm going to start on a seam, and I'm just going to do a couple stitches in place, and it's just a straight stitch, and you're just coming along. You're just coming along this edge here. It doesn't matter if you go wonky. Oh well, it's up to you if it goes wonky. The whole idea is when you get to this corner, best if you have your needle down, it holds it in place while you pivot. Easy peasy. Like I said, it's actually pretty easy. Like you can hand stitch this, or you can do it on the sewing machine, whatever you find easier. So just when you get to the corner, just lift up the guide dog there, pop him down so you can press a foot, not guide dog, turn and just sew your little straight stitch down, pulling the pin out when you get to it, to the corner, and then just pivot again. It's really, really that easy. And then when you get to the end, you can just double stitch it, back stitch it, put a locking stitch in, whatever you prefer. I just do a couple back, up, cut your threads, and you finished your first hexagon. Like, can you think of anything that's easier than that? So here you can see all the pieces of fabric all in. I mean, if you wanted to quilt it again on the back or on the front, it's up to you. But it's a quilted piece of quilting. Quilted piece of quilting. But that's your first set. So you can leave it as is and how you've got a coaster, or you can keep stitching them together, make a quilt. But I'm going to make enough for a little placemat type thing for my table. So I'll finish making the rest, and then I'll come back to join them all together. Okay, so now I've got a couple sewn, and I'm going to join these together. So match up how you want them to go. I mean, I don't want to have 2 orange pieces there. I don't want to have the 2 white pieces. So I'll just, I don't know, how does that look? Does that look okay? All right. So now we're just going to join them together. So you just butt them close together. I've got my stitch on a zigzag, and then you're just going to come along and join them together. So I've got variegated threads, so sometimes it's going to go light blue, sometimes it's going to go dark blue, but I don't really care. As you can see along here, you really can't see the stitches along here, but so you just butt them together and stitch. So close up, you've got them butted together and stitch. It's really, really that simple. So then when we get to the end, I'm just going to go backwards and forwards a couple of bits, because that locks your thread in place. And there you have the first part. Oops, where's the first part done. So as you can imagine, you can do all these at once, or you can do one at a time like this. I'm going to be making a hexagon flower, so the next one will be 1, 2, 3, and then another 2. So I'll come back when I've got all them together and the flower, and you can see what a flower looks like. 2, my row of 3, and I joined them together with the zigzag stitch. So we started off with the one hexy zigzag them together. Then I sewed one hexy to one hexy there, and then I did the other hexy and I've joined it there, and then I pushed them together and I've zigzagged here. So now we need, because I'm making a flower, I've got another 2 hexies. So I've got, oops, there's a thread. I've got the one hexy that I've made, the second hexy that I've made, joined them together. So now I'm going to join them together here and zigzag along here. So this is what the process I'll show you now. Just before we do that, we'll show you the back. You can, so we're joining these ones together. So beep beep, that's what we'll be doing. It's almost like Lego for grown-ups. Honestly, this is awesome. Okay, so I'll show you how to do this, and then you can be making your own flower soon. So sewing machine set to zigzag, and we're going to be stitching these together. So I've got the 3 here, and I'm going to be stitching the 2 to the 3, just so I've got less bulk in this side here, whereas the big bulk's on this side of the sewing machine. So just roughly just make sure it's going to fit. It generally does. Sometimes if it doesn't fit perfectly, just flip it over, and sometimes just the way that it works, because you know you've got the bias and all that sort of stuff, it might just make them slightly bigger, but it's going to work fine. You can pin it if you want, but it's going to be really hard to pin. You maybe might want to use clips, but I just hold them because we're only zigzagging it. So it's pretty easy to just line it up. Okay. And then we're going to start here. Just make sure that these ends up here is lined up, because this is going to be your final flower. And then we can manipulate everything into shape from there. So needle down, and we're just going to start with just a couple of stitches there. That just makes sure it's going to hold and not come undone. And I'm just going to gently just pull this one down to line up with this one, button together, and then zigzag. And when you get down to here, so when you get down to this section here, try to finish with your needle on this side, because that way then we can pivot and come down here. So finishing on that side so I can pivot. Let's get that thread out of the way because it's annoying. And then I'm just going to gently stretch them to shape. They've warped a little bit because of the bias. And then just a couple of more stitches just in that there in the corner there. It just helps to secure it. And then we're just going to zigzag all the way up to this corner again, and then we're going to stop with the zigzag with the needle on this side this time, because we're going to pivot and we're going to go this way. So line it up, a couple of ziggies there, and we're going to come down, and then we're going to stand the needle to this side, because you guessed it, we're going to pivot this way. And then because I'm going to finish it here, I'm going to come to the end, and then I'm just going to go back stitch just to tie the end off. And then snip, snippity snip, and we have finished the most amazing hexy flower, Quilt-As-You-Go. So as you can see, I really love this method because you can stop at any point and it's all done. You can put it in the washing machine, you can use it, you can put it on the bed. It's not nothing, there's nothing to fray because all the edges are finished. Everything's tucked in, no raw edges. So this is probably like a no raw edge Quilt-As-You-Go. Maybe that's what we should be calling it. It's just so awesome. It's so easy. And then later on, if I wanted to make another flower, I can then join it here, and then we can maybe make a table runner. And then maybe later on, you can stretch it out and add more and more and more, and you can add up with a tablecloth. keep going. You've got a bedspread, a throw for the couch or the car. Oh, you know, this would actually make a really good picnic blanket too, because it's solid. It's look how it's nice and solid, and it scrunches up. You can check, and it bounces back. You can use any wadding that you want in the middle. I've just used scraps, and you know, you can buy yardage if you want. It's just that easy. Are you going to give it a try? I'm really loving the effect here of the scrap fabric. I really love it. All right, thanks for watching.